I have been asked to talk about synodality and how it affects rather Asia. You see, with my long experience in Asian countries as an theological advisor to Asian bishops, nearly 16 years, I should say synodality will pick up in Asia well. But, as I was telling the organizers of these interviews, I would like to concentrate on some of the positive points, or rather opportunities, on which synodality can work in Asia. Why I say synodality will work in Asia? Number one, we are in Asia with India, I'm from Sri Lanka, China, Japan, you name it. In Asia, we have that family spirit, that communal spirit, togetherness. For example, in India, you have that ancient thing, no, panchayat. So, involving everybody, participation of everybody is assured even in a village. People may not be educated, people may not be literate, but they participate. Of course, decisions are made later by others after having listened. So, synodality is mainly to make all the baptized and also other good-willed people participate in proclaiming the good news, in being the church. Now, I want to say something here, in addition to that positive point. Namely, Asia is very patriarchal. As we know, we still in Asia go by the man, the head of the family, father, except for matriarchal societies. I know some are there in northern India and all. I'm talking in general, we are patriarchal. We listen to authority. So there's a balance. While everybody participates, someone makes a decision, but participation is important. Also, look at the sense of family. Let's say this man is getting married to this woman, this village and that village. It's not a marriage between a man and a woman. It's a marriage between two villages. It's a marriage between two families. Now, these are the positive points, Asian values, family values, sense of community, participation, that I see is good soil, fertile soil for launching synodality in Asia. But I would like to concentrate more on the negative sides, because I have experienced during the past 2 years in Asia, Asian countries, some of the challenges, some of the setbacks. Number one is, I'm talking about the church now, although the setup is good for the church to function as a synodal church, that one of the challenges is the fear. I know there are very good bishops, there are very good parish priests, but all of them seem, not all, most of them seem to be having a sort of a fear, anxiety. What will happen if I allow everybody in my parish to participate in decision making? If I allow everybody in my diocese to participate, will I lose my authority? I think this is not the church authority. Church's authority is a participatory authority. As we see in the Acts of the Apostles, other New Testament passages, church is ecclesia, coming together of all the baptized. So, if we believe, this is a theological point, if we believe that every baptized person is a temple of the Holy Spirit, as St. Paul says, at baptism, we have seen at baptism, no? The baptizing minister, the priest or the deacon, normally says, hereafter, invokes the Holy Spirit, and hereafter this child or the adult baptism, this man or woman, will be a temple of the Spirit. So through him or her, Holy Spirit is speaking. So when our leaders, church leaders, bishops, parish priests, when they listen to the baptized, they are not listening to mere human voices, they are listening to the Holy Spirit. So this is a very important factor, and this fear factor should go out. Another point that I jotted down to share with you is the need to include everybody. There is a tendency today in the church to exclude Take, for example, the divorced and the remarried people are excluded. People with different sexual orientations, they are excluded. I'm not trying to say they are right. I'm trying to say they are also sons and daughters of the church. As Pope John Paul II said, much before Pope Francis, in, Familiaris Consortio number 84, he says, even the divorced and the remarried Catholics are sons and daughters of the church. So, I want to finish here by adding one more point. So, when the present document for the continental stage says, enlarge the tent, it means include those who are marginalized. We in the church, both clergy and the laity, have to reach out and to include those people. The last point I want to say is, I said there's a negative point, namely diversity. You see, Asia, not only Sri Lanka, but here in India, there's so much of diversity. Isn't it beautiful? Very often we think diversity is not good. You are different from me, so he should be either like me or I should be either like him. That's not our Asian ethos. Hinduism, Buddhism, these isms with Christianity, how important if we can complement one another, if we can hold hands together, if we include them in the tent, the picture is complete. This is an important thing. But unfortunately, and I wind up definitely, there's a wrong concept of unity in the Catholic Church. Some of our pastors, not just the bishops, priests, both religious and diocesan, we think unity is everybody should think like me. Everybody should think, the word is in a uniform way. Unity is not that. Unity is unity in diversity. So I want to say that there can be tensions when I include someone who is not of my opinion. There can be a tension. But we need to learn to live with tension. Didn't Jesus and his disciples have tensions? They had. So also the Gospels. The 4 Gospels are not the same. But they are telling the same story of Jesus. But different, very different. Matthew, Mark, Luke and John. But they complement one another. So this is what I expect from synodality. So the challenges that I mentioned, to sum up, number 1 is fear, that whether we would lose authority. Number 2, to think unity is uniformity. Number 3, to have a wrong concept of unity, again a second part of unity, that everybody should be like me. Synodality is not that. Synodality is walking together, holding hands and walking together. Different opinions, different views, but we are listening to him, listening to her. We are walking together in listening to the Holy Spirit. That's synodality for me. And in Asia, I think it will function, provided our bishops, our parish priests, give a little push, a supporting hand. In fact, I'm sorry to say, I'm a priest now for nearly 35 years. It's wrong to blame always the clergy. Of course, there is clericalism. In many places, the priests are controlling, bishops are controlling. But sometimes even the laity, they say, Father, it's okay, you do, you know better. We'll follow what you say. A wrong concept of obedience, a wrong concept of respect for the pastor. I do not say even for a minute that we should not respect our bishops. We should not respect our parish priests. We should. But they should listen to our opinions. We should listen to their opinions. So your question was, what sort of new roles they would have to play? One of the biggest new roles is for the pastors, bishops and priests, to allow people to voice their opinions, to listen actively. I know of some of my friends who are parish priests, my students also, who say we are listening, but already they have made the decision. Then listening, but they have already made the decision. It's just hearing from here, putting it out from there. No, active listening is necessary. That's from the part of the clergy. On the part of the laity, you ask the role, it is to be more active, to express their views. What Pope Francis says, parousia. Parousia is to speak out with courage what you think is right. It's unfortunate that we have two types of canon law. It should be one. But immediately I say I'm wrong now. Immediately I say. Probably it should not be two codes of canon law. There should be different codes of canon law according to the context of each group. So your question was, isn't it good to have one way of doing? St. Augustine long ago used to say, in faith we should be one. We should be different in acting and also in charity. So I feel personally, because your question put me into some concrete situation to give something concrete, if you push me to answer, I would say we should have sets of ways of doing things according to each context, but all united in faith. One baptism, one faith. Whether east or west, south or north, whether Oriental churches or Latin church, we should have some common values, that Jesus is God, that Jesus rose from the dead, that there is a Trinity. These are common. But ways of doing things, ways of expressing faith could be different. Thomas Aquinas said it long ago.